when she went on stage, he went. And he's, you know, it was just really sweet.
Yeah. It was really a galvanizing spot. Everyone had to go there. You had to go there if you were interested in anything that had to do with women that was progressive. I mean, I don't think you had to be a lesbian, you know.
No, but a lot of people claimed, you know, a lot of people would say, well, I'm a political lesbian, you know.
Okay.
Or, I mean, it made a real impact.
Yeah. It was a safe place to gather in a certain way, right? Like, we didn't bother each other. Nobody said, well, are you lesbian? Let me see your card or whatever, right? You could just go there and hang out. And there were many, many discussions, and there were great concerts. I know I did a show there that, you know, a lot of my friends joined me. And that was one of the last times because you couldn't clap. You had to, because the place was being closed down. Yeah.
Yeah. I was at that time.
And I'm sure, I'm writing my second book now, and I'm sure that the reason why people complained about the noise was because it was a lesbian bar. It wasn't because
You think so?
wasn't that noisy.
Well, I kind of wondered how noisy, how it could be that
It wasn't
noisy.
that noisy, no. But that's my own conviction.
Well,
Yeah.
remember outside the saloon there was a car that used to be parked on a street that ran into Melrose.
So
Dead-ended at Melrose, and we thought that was the FBI or
oh, I'm
somebody.
so sure.
There was this car there
Yeah.
every single night.
Right. I mean, they were busy. They were busy.
They said, those girls are having a lot of fun.
There's got to be something
By
wrong with that.
themselves.
Yeah, by
Yeah,
themselves.
they're so happy.
Women should not be happy. I mean, I think that was one of the subtexts. That was in the undercurrent of the backlash against women.
Absolutely.
And, right? We weren't supposed to be happy.
We were only happy if they were there to make us.
We were only happy
We were
if they
there
were
to
happy.
make them
Yeah,
happy.
that's exactly right. Now, let's just tell the truth because that is what it is,
Yeah.
okay? And in many cases, that is still what it is. Okay, so there we are in LA, and you start playing on the women's music albums.
Yeah, right.
Go ahead.
What happened was, you know, Sylvia did her concert, and I played for her. And I think somebody told Holly Near about that.
Okay.
And Holly was connected with Olivia, and she knew that they were looking for a person of color
Yeah.
to play piano on Teresa, a woman
Yeah.
to play piano on Teresa Troll's album.
Got
And
it.
so she told them about me,
Okay.
and Teresa Troll called me,
Oh, awesome.
and I had an audition, and with Teresa and Linda Tillery.
Oh my.
And Linda Tillery asked me to play Stella by Starlight. That's a very famous jazz stand. It's a beautiful song piece, and she says, "Can you play that?"
Oh my.
I said, "Oh yes," because it was one of my favorites, you know.
Oh.
And I played, so I got the job.
Oh, right on. Oh, that's a terrific story. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you got hired and connected with a lot of women in music, which is your heart's desire, actually.
Yeah, I had always, you know, when I had the opportunity to hire women, like when I was with this theater company, and sometimes we'd have a little ensemble. Whenever I had an opportunity to hire women, I did. I just thought, gee, it'd be nice to see women do things. You know, play their instruments. You know, it's just something besides serve coffee or, you know, do that sort of thing.
That's right. That's right. So we were not only expressing ourselves, we were creating. And that's what I think is so fascinating and is so important for people to know, that we had the ability to create, and now we had the means to create. There was a record company, there were women getting together. The creative juices were flowing. I mean, I know that for sure. There was so much music. That first Lesbian Concentrate album that Olivia did, were you on that? You had to have been on it, yeah?
Yes, I was.
Sure. Wasn't that just recorded at the house?
It was recorded, next door to the office. Well, we had two houses. We were renting two places, right?
Okay.
So, in answer to Anita Bryant.
Unbelievable. Right. Unbelievable. Her stories, you know, we don't have to get into it. It wasn't so great. So now we're in 77, essentially. We're passing into the phase where you're getting hired. I remember when Alive was looking for a keyboard player, and they were.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm sure that they got together with you.
I don't think they ever.
Oh, really?
I think. I remember.
Alive was an all-women jazz band, by the way.
Yeah, there was an
all.
all women's
Yeah.
jazz band.
So great.
Rhiannon used to. I would run into her, and she would always invite me to. You know, she wanted to do some music with me. I didn't know who they were.
Right.
And you know.
Well, they work so hard. They definitely got places. But I will say that in '76, when I went on the road with Chris, and I mentioned that first concert in Salt Lake City when the place exploded, literally, and I thought, what just happened?
Did that scare you?
No, because I'd done the rock thing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. What surprised me was all of a sudden I realized I wasn't being objectified in the way that I had been in Oregon
Totally different.
by straight audiences. Completely different. And when I realized that, I realized how free I felt because I wasn't under that male gaze thing.
You could be yourself.
Yeah. In fact, people didn't even know who I was. I mean, Chris was the star. And so for me, it was like a fantastic vacation. Yeah. So, and then we continued from there. We went to Yellow Springs. We went to Smith College in Northampton, which is the area that IMA is at right now. So I live in that area. And I remember as we were crossing the country doing gigs, Chris and whoever our road manager was kept saying, you know, they're really waiting for us at Smith College because the Girl Scouts heard your song, Filling Up and Spilling Over. So what is that song?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so they had heard that song and they had written Chris a letter and they were all coming and, you know, the Girl Scouts, I mean, the brownies, you know, so it was really like a big deal. And it was a big deal. That hall was packed, you know. So every single gig was like that. There was like, you know, the kids were getting it, the adults. It was really incredible. So I was in particular smitten by the whole thing. I fell in love with it without knowing what it was because of how it made me feel.
It gave you yourself.
Yeah, that's right. And earlier we were talking about music that moves you and that you write music so that people can recognize themselves in it and love themselves. I'm just interpreting
that's really
what you said.
The best. That's my reason. Because this is what it does. What music does for me.
Yeah.
And I communicate? It's that thing that flows through me.
Yeah.
To you.
Right.
And hopefully it heals you in some way. It
Yeah,
changes you
yeah.
in some way.
Yeah. I mean, there's like something that opens up at the top of your head and it just comes through and it cleanses in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Not everything all at once, maybe, but
Yeah,
you know.
just that you suddenly you know a little bit another part of yourself, a piece of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you get it in
Yeah.
pieces.
Well, let's move back into when you first realized that you had to do music. You had to take piano lessons, but you were hearing, right? In fact, you did the very first concert, IMA concert in Bodega when we started there. Yeah. You were the very first concert. I mean, I will never forget that. And during the question and answer period, maybe I asked the question, how'd you get started? And you talked about taking piano lessons and that there had to be a
I was
piano.
only 3 years and 9 months old. My mother thought, oh, this is wonderful. And nobody had told her that, well, you should probably wait till she's about 8.
Really?
That would be a good starting point. So I went to my first lesson. I remember that lesson.
Okay.
And my feet wouldn't, of course, reach the floor. There was this box, you know, that fruit comes in.
Oh, yeah.
And then on top of the box was this old dictionary about this thick. And so the teacher, tells me, well, you sit here and your feet are straight planted on the floor.
Okay.
And she introduced me to the keyboard. She ran her hand over the white keys and said, these are the white keys. And then she ran over the black keys. These are the black keys. And I thought, okay. And then she said, "You may be excused."
Really?
That's exactly what I didn't say. Really, but I said, "Is that all?" I remember they thought that was so funny, but I remember that. I thought,
Oh
"What?
my
This is
gosh,
all?"
this is all right. You needed more.
Well, I mean, I just said my mother had been talking about this for months.
Oh, I see. Okay.
She's preparing me for this moment and how I was to behave at this lesson, you know?
That was the most important thing. How did you behave?
Yeah, you know, and it's like, oh.
Well, so then the next lesson you maybe learned where C was or something? I mean,
She might have showed me where middle C.
Okay,
Maybe
okay.
she did, because it's there should have been more to it. But there was much more. Anyway,
okay.
yeah, but then, you know, I started, and the thing is, my mother was, you know, very protective, and, yeah. She would make sure that I practiced these little lessons, these little songs. And I was really not reading, I was playing them by ear.
And that is the story of so many.
And they
people,
figured
yeah.
it out.
Oh, they did.
figured out that's what I was doing, and so my mother was supposed to stop playing the music for me, so I wouldn't.
Oh.
Okay. But I know that I didn't really know how to read for a while.
Okay.
And then I remember when a friend of mine started taking lessons, I was helping my friend, and I realized I knew how to read.
Aha. Okay. And also earlier you spoke about the first time you heard an organ, and how it. How old were you?
The first time, the first time I was probably 8.
Okay.
I might have been. I think I was 9 actually.
Okay. But it filled you. It transformed you.
It did.
You know. What was it about?
Well,
what is it?
You know, I always loved hymns. In fact, Chris and I talked about that. She likes. I don't know if she ever told you this or not, but.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, she really loves hymns, and Barbara Higbee. We all like hymns.
Yeah.
And it reminds us of good things. And,
Right.
And I lost my.
So you grew up in the church, right? So you would be going.
This is where I heard live music. Yeah, I grew up. If they weren't my parents weren't. They weren't Bible thumpers, but they were very much a part of the church, and they were
part
active.
of the community, right?
I started playing the piano for our little junior choir when I was 8 years old.
Oh my gosh!
We had this little junior choir. We had these little white robes and little ribbons.
Oh, you actually remember that? Oh my! Okay.
And we used to sing "When the Saints Go Marching," and I remember
you
that.
could play that.
And I was kind of there by that time. I was kind of adding things, you know. And I remember my mother heard this, and she turned and said, "Stop doing that."
You couldn't get away with nothing.
And so, okay. But eventually they gave up. They stopped trying, you know.
So you're just adding color to the chords? You weren't actually changing the arrangement?
Flavor. But I learned how to accompany, you know, I suppose in doing that, I learned a lot doing that.
Yeah, sure
and my feeling for music and the power of music, this is where I got it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
so early, so young.
Yeah, and when I heard that organ,
oh gosh,
it was so powerful and so beautiful, and it just filled me up.
You knew.
And I knew that there was something greater than myself, but I had not been learning.
That's the key, yeah.
I had been misinformed or miseducated about, you know, spirituality.
Right.
Religion and spirituality are not the same thing necessarily. Yeah. I mean, religion can be spiritual, but and there was to that degree, I just took it in, and it's the foundation. Yeah. It's the foundation of my music, even though it might sound like I'm doing a lot of other things. But that's where I got it.
So essentially, let me just make this leap.
Yes.
And connect two things. I think that what you're talking about really connects with the women's music experience because it was all about that, connecting us with ourselves, having the sense of spirituality.
Absolutely.
You know.
Your own divinity.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and but
Yeah.
this would have been blasphemy.
Blasphemous? Uh-huh.
To organize
Yeah.
traditional religion.
Right,
So I didn't
right,
understand
yeah,
any
right.
of that at that time.
Yes.
You know,
You're 8, 9.
I didn't understand.
Yeah, but you're getting sanctified, right?
I was getting, you know, there was something that was very powerful. It was
Bigger than you. Bigger than all of
coming,
us.
and
anyway.
it connected me to other people, connected me to myself.
That's it. Yeah. Connected you to everything and everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so big. It's so all powerful.
It is. It's awesome.
In the beginning, there was the Word. I mean, if you're going to get into the Bible, you know, I mean, not that I tried to read the Bible when I was young. I didn't make it through,
It
but
can be difficult.
yeah. But you know, that's one thing among many that connects us is that I wouldn't say obedience, but we're totally, what's the word I'm trying to think of, to music? It's not just a connection. We obey.
It
we,
is
you know?
us.
Yeah, that's right.
It
Yeah.
is. You know, I think everyone has a talent. Everyone has talent of some kind. The creator, which is that energy, whatever, that's the way it shows up in me. And that's the way it shows up in you. Maybe it shows up in an athlete, a great athlete, or somebody who, a great chef. Or whatever.
Absolutely.
But that's what it all is, and
Yeah.
it's not all this ego stuff.
Yeah, right.
But
totally.
it's easy to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the word I was looking for was a loyalty to music. I mean, I cannot leave music, and it never leaves me. It's always in my head. I'm always
me
having a
too.
song playing. You know, like I was singing a song at lunch, and it's a great pop tune from the 90s or whatever, you know. But every day I have a song. It could be getting to know you, getting to know all about you, you know. Anything. It could be anything, but it never leaves me. Music is always talking to me and through me, and it's always traveling through me.
Yes.
And it makes me feel so good.
You know yourself.
Yeah. I
When
never
that
feel
happens.
bad when I think of a song. It's always elevated me.
Sometimes, yes. It
What else
elevates
does
you.
that? What else does
It affirms your being.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have children, but I would imagine that's what you would feel when you see your child. I see other people's children, and they fill me up with something that is bigger than me. And I love that feeling, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going a little bit through women's music, but you know, you do so many styles. We saw the opera Emmett Till last night, for which you wrote the music and collaborated with Claire Koss. But let's talk about the different kinds of music that you've been through. You came through the church. First you were learning like more or less classical music.
Yeah.
What was after that? Jazz?
I picked up jazz a little bit. I was, because I always played by ear. So, and I had a sense of rhythm. So, I learned how to read chords because I didn't know how to read chords. If I knew the tune, I could play it with the guys. The guys. I got to play with the guys.
Yeah.
And
So we could stop right there and talk about. But let's. All right. That's a big deal. And after jazz, I know that when I met you, you had just composed an album. And what was that?